oh so sweet and fair. All must surely gaze in wonder at thy gifts so rich and rare. Rivers, valleys, hills and mountains, all these gifts we do extol. Healthy land, sunlight, all fountains, giving cheer that warms the soul. Dominica, God has blessed thee with a clime benign and bright, pastures green and floods of beauty, filling all with pure delight, and a people strong and healthy, full of godly reverent fear. May we ever seek to praise thee for these gifts so rich and rare. Come ye forward, sons and daughters of this gem beyond compare. Strive for honor, sons and daughters, do the right, be firm, be fair. Toil with hearts and hands and voices, we must prosper, sound the call, in which everyone rejoices, all for each and each for all.
Thank you. Let's remain standing as we invite Father Nigel Karam to lead us into prayer. Father, please.
Let us listen to the word of God from the Gospel of Matthew chapter 13, verses 1 to 9. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered round him that he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he scattered the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places, where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But then the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop, 100, 60, 30-fold what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, you who created the earth with every good gift to provide for the life and growth of your servants, fill us today with an abundance of your grace, that we may savor the goodness of the earth and protect it according to your word that has made us stewards of your handiwork. Today we especially ask you to water us with the Holy Spirit, that we may seek to plant seeds of hope for the life of your people here in this region. We pray that you fertilize the vision and nourish the strength to embrace these initiatives to increase the presence of our youth in the agricultural sector. Plow the hearts and weed out any insularity and other hindrances as we seek to unite to build food security, to open access to nutritious and affordable provisions, and to use healthy, sustainable, and innovative practices in planting. We lift up to you our leaders of the Eastern Caribbean, that they may have the fortitude and drive to deepen the integration of this space, sharing more intently resources and skills for a new, single society and people. Plant in our youth and young adults a desire to help feed their families and community by engaging in the green and blue sectors as a viable path for their livelihood, so we can all reap an abundant harvest of peace and prosperity. Continue to watch over us during this hurricane season and save us from death. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, your Son, our Savior, who lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Your Excellency Sylvanie Burton, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mr. Burton, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Honorable Melissa Skerrit, wife of the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister of Housing, Urban Development, and Parliamentary Representative for the Roseau Central Constituency, Honorable Joseph Isaac, Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Roland Royer, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, other honorable members of Cabinet, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, Dr. Didacus Jules, Director General of the OECS, Dr. Renata Clark, Sub-Regional Coordinator for the Caribbean Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, Mr. Greg Rollins, Representative of the Inter-American Institute of Cooperation for Agriculture, ICA, Your Worship Sandra Ermin Royer, Mayor of Roseau, other Permanent Secretary, my colleagues, Mr. Dorian Etienne, Country Representative of CADI, Dr. Nadia Paquette Anslem, Country Coordinator of the OECS Sustainable Agriculture in the Caribbean, SAC, Mr. Juan James, National Project Coordinator of the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Use Management, Father Nigel Karam. I also want to welcome Abia, members of the media, delegates from the OECS countries, local participants, media, staff of the Ministry of Agriculture. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be your Master of Ceremony this morning. I want to welcome you to the first OECS Youth in Agriculture Symposium under the theme, Growing the Future and Harnessing Dreams. Today marks a significant occasion in the history of the sub-region as we set goals and objectives towards food and nutrition security, climate resilience, sustainability, and transformation of our agriculture sector. We clearly understand the importance of inclusivity for all, especially with our young people. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to quote from the FAO that says our actions are our future, which means whatever we do, the future generation, we have to consider our future. And so if we truly want to transform agriculture in the sub-region, we have to consider all the issues of climate change, the issue of our food import bill, and so we as young people, we need to take these actions and see how we transform the agriculture sector. At this time, I would want you to join me to invite the Honorable Melissa Popon Skerrit, Parliamentary Representative of the Roseau Central, to give you welcome remarks. Make her feel welcome, please.
Your Excellency, Sylvani Burton, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mr. Burton, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, the Honorable Speaker of the House of Assembly, Mr. Joseph Isaac, Honorable Roland Royer, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, other honorable members of Cabinet, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, Dr. Didacus Jules, Director General of the OECS, Dr. Renata Clark, the Sub-Regional Coordinator for the Caribbean Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, Mr. Greg Rawlins, Representative of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation and Agriculture, Your Worship, Sandra Ermin Royer, the Mayor of Roseau, Mr. Ryan Ansem, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, other Permanent Secretaries, Mr. Dorian Etienne, Country Representative of the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, Dr. Nadia Paquette Ansem, the Country Coordinator of OECS Sustainable Agriculture in the Caribbean, Dr. Juan James, the National Project Coordinator and Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Use Management, Father Nigel Karam, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, our youth listening here today, good morning to all of you. It is a pleasure to welcome all of you to the Youth in Agriculture Symposium organized by the OECS Commission and hosted by the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Blue and Green Economy. I am honored to address you today as the parliamentary representative for the Roseau Central constituency, as well as an advocate for modern farming. The symposium's theme, Growing the Future and Harvesting Dreams, strongly aligns with government's vision for our youth and the agricultural sector. Agriculture is a field of unlimited possibilities and opportunities. Agriculture has been the backbone of our economy, and today we stand at the crossroads of tradition and innovation. The future of agriculture lies in the hands of our youth, and it is through your creativity, your passion, and dedication that we will see this sector flourish. For those who have land to plant, consider yourself to be blessed. Because, for example, in the city of Roseau, we face unique challenges, particularly when it comes to land availability. However, these challenges also present opportunities for innovation. Urban farming techniques, such as hydroponics, rooftop farming, vertical farming, and other sustainable solutions offer sustainable solutions to these constraints. These methods do not only maximize space, but also enhance productivity and ensure food security within our urban environments. Modern farming is more than just a necessity. It is a pathway to a more resilient and self-sufficient community. By adopting these innovative techniques, we can transform abandoned and unused urban spaces into vibrant agricultural hubs, bringing fresh produce closer to our tables and reducing our carbon footprint. This is why we have been promoting urban farming strongly in the city. Whether you're the conventional farmer, you should always be open to the modern farming methods and possibly the use of technology, which will enable year-round food production without the loss of yields due to climate change. Technology has introduced a plethora of innovative farming methods that are continuously evolving, and I encourage you to conduct your own research and experiment with new techniques. For example, I want to describe myself as a farmer. However, recently I joined forces with a few young people, and we've delved into the use of small hydroponic systems, and soon we will begin to explore the utilization of digital seedling starter kits to simplify the seed germination process. And all of these actually can be found quite inexpensive on Amazon. Some individuals are successfully already growing potatoes in their grow bags, vegetables in their vertical planters, and using the hydroponic system for their leafy greens. Ladies and gentlemen, today's symposium is an invaluable platform for knowledge, exchange, inspiration, and collaboration. I encourage each and every one of you to engage actively, share your ideas, and explore the potential that modern agriculture holds. Let us embrace the innovative spirit of urban farming and empower our youth to lead the way in sustainable agriculture. In closing, I would like to thank the OECS Commission and the Ministry of Agriculture for organizing this impactful event. Your efforts in fostering the growth and development of our agricultural sector are truly commendable. To the youth who are here today, remember that you are the pioneers of our agricultural future. Your dreams and aspirations will shape the landscape of tomorrow. Together, let us grow the future and harvest the dreams that will sustain our communities for generations to come. We have a target of agriculture's contribution to GDP of 700 million by 2030. The world needs more farmers, young and old. Let's get to work. Thank you, and I wish you all a productive and inspiring symposium.
Thank you, Mrs. Skerrit, for reminding us that the future of agriculture lies with the youth and emphasizing the importance of technology and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, the OECS has been a strong partner over the years, and so it gives me pleasure to invite Dr. Didacus Jules to give us remarks. Make him feel welcome, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It is highly impolite to arrive late for a ceremony of this importance, and I want to apologize to the Madam President and Prime Minister and all distinguished persons present. Unfortunately, our luggage didn't come, so we had to scramble to get some new threads. Now, notwithstanding the fact that we have a long protocol list, I feel obligated to repeat it, not for the sake of protocol, but because of the deep importance of the event that we are launching today in Dominica. So, Your Excellency, Madam Silvani Burton, and Mr. Burton, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Honorable Melissa Skerrit, Honorable Roland Royer, other honorable members of Cabinet, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Dr. Renata Clark of FAO, Mr. Greg Rollins of the AICA, Your Worship Sandra Umin Royer, Mayor of Roseau, Mr. Ryan Anslem, PS, Ministry of Agriculture, etc., other permanent secretaries, Mr. Dorian Etienne, country rep for the CADI, Dr. Nadia Paquette Anslem, country coordinator of the OECS Sustainable Agriculture, Mr. Yuan James, national project coordinator of the PSILM, Father Nigel Karam, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, the youth of Dominica and the OECS. I am honored and delighted to be here today in the Commonwealth of Dominica for the OECS Youth in Agriculture Symposium. This gathering is a testament to the deep commitment of Prime Minister Skerrit and the unrelenting insistence, let me repeat, the unrelenting insistence of Minister Royer to ensure that our youth in Dominica and the OECS take center stage in guaranteeing food security and in shaping the future of our agricultural sector. The OECS agriculture sector has faced numerous challenges over the past few decades. Many of our countries have seen significant contractions in this sector. The decline in agricultural exports in the OECS region has been profound in the past. Historically, cash crops like bananas were major contributors to the GDP. However, with the phasing out of preferential export regimes and the introduction of the WTO in 1995, the agricultural sector's contribution to GDP significantly decreased. For instance, the banana industry's earnings, which were as high as 11% of GDP for some countries in the late 1980s and the early 90s, have seen a drastic reduction due to factors such as the loss of markets, low and variable productivity, vulnerability to climate change, and environmental degradation. Our region has faced significant, severe impacts from climate change and natural disasters. Events, as you well know in Dominica, such as hurricanes and prolonged droughts, have devastated agricultural productivity. For instance, St. Vincent and the Grenadines recently experienced one of the worst droughts in over 50 years, severely affecting crop yields and further discouraging investment in agriculture. The shift in tourism has also impacted the sector. Over the years, tourism, to its credit though, has emerged as the dominant economic activity in many of the islands, replacing agriculture as the main driver of growth. Currently, tourism accounts for about 45.6% of GDP and 57.5% of employment in OECS countries. This shift has led to some extent to the marginalization of agriculture and a decrease in its relative economic importance. But it did not have to be this way. In hindsight, think of what this expansion of tourism could have done for agriculture if way back then the mechanisms had been put in place for greater utilization of food, local food in the tourism sector. With the decline in the sector's profitability and attractiveness, there has been a notable aging of the farming population, and I think Mrs. Skerrit mentioned that in her remarks. This demographic trend is concerning as it indicates a lack of young people entering the sector, which is crucial for its vitalization and sustainability. No industry, no society can survive without the infusion of youth. There is no future without the youth. The agricultural sector in the Eastern Caribbean has therefore faced multifaceted challenges over the past 15 years, leading to its decline and contraction. Addressing these issues requires a concerted effort to revitalize the sector through policies that encourage youth participation, innovation, and sustainable practices. Recognizing this worrying trend, the OECS Ministers of Agriculture agreed that youth should be a priority pillar in the implementation of the OECS Food and Agriculture Systems Transformation, what we call the FAST strategy, covering the period especially 2022 to 2032. Therefore, at the 7th meeting of the OECS Councils of Ministers of Agriculture held in Grenada in June 2023, the OECS Commission was mandated to develop a Youth in Agriculture program. This symposium is a key component of that program. And the objectives of the Youth in Agriculture Symposium are ambitious but vital. 1, promote the agriculture sector for youth involvement. 2, encourage and support youth participation in all stages of the agriculture value chain, so not just production, but also processing, export, marketing, the entire chain. 3, raise the profile of youth already in agriculture to inspire others. And there are some amazing stories across the OECS of young people utilizing precisely the technology that Minister Skerrit outlined a while ago and experimenting successfully with those things. What is required in a greenhouse, for example, a hydroponics facility of 10,000 square feet may require 3 or 4 acres of land to produce that level of produce. The 4th area is to build the capacity of youth in critical areas, limiting their limiting their participation in the sector. 5thly, allow youth the opportunity to shape how they participate in decision making. And let me digress for a moment to say that there are a number of innovations that we have introduced in our ministerial councils. We have started ensuring that when we have meetings of ministers, whether it's education, youth, health, but education and health in particular, now in this case agriculture, the key stakeholders are invited. They're not just invited to the opening ceremony, but they sit in an outer circle of the ministerial to follow and listen to what is happening. And in one of our education meetings in Antigua, Minister Darren Matthew, the Minister of Education in Antigua, suggested, why don't we ask the young people for their views? And on a particular subject matter. They very timidly stepped forward and expressed their views, and thereafter they took over the meeting. because on every agenda item they were very vociferous, very clear. CXC, for example, was on the agenda. That was just after the challenges with the exam, and they did not spare words to say what they thought of what had happened to the registrar of CXC. So the involvement of the sectors in that way is critical, because you have and the more these sectors get organized, like young people in Dominica being part of an association of young agricultural innovators, will give voice that helps government listen to those voices and to respond in ways that helps the sector to grow with a lot of enthusiasm and creativity. These objectives reflect our commitment to empowering the youth and ensuring their integral role in transforming the agricultural landscape. This is an area that our ministers of agriculture are extremely passionate about, and they pay very close attention to its implementation. We are all constantly inspired by the passion, the innovation, and determination displayed by the young people across our region, and we at the Commission are committed to supporting young people. We are committed to supporting your endeavors so that you achieve your dreams in line with the theme of this symposium, growing the future and harvesting dreams. Your presence here is not just a reflection of your interest in agriculture, but a commitment to driving real change and sustainability in this vital yet fragile sector. Today's agriculture goes beyond traditional practices, and we've heard that earlier. It encompasses technology, sustainability, and a deep understanding of our environment, because the preservation of the environment is also part of the inescapable future of agriculture. Who is better placed to lead that challenge than you, the youth, with your fresh ideas, brilliant minds, and unwavering dedication? As you engage in discussions, workshops, panel discussions, and networking sessions over the next few days, remember that you are not just the future of agriculture, you are also its present. And we heard what is happening in Roseau. Your actions today will shape the landscape of agriculture for years to come. Seize this opportunity, ask questions, challenge the status quo, and most importantly, listen. Listen to the wisdom of those who have paved the way before you, like Honorable Cozier Frederick, who you will hear from later. Also listen to the voices of your peers who share the same passion and drive for a better, more sustainable future. I have no doubt that with the collective energy and commitment in this room today, we will see groundbreaking innovations, sustainable practices, and a thriving agricultural sector driven by the power of our youth. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your dedication to agriculture, and thank you for being the change makers that our region so desperately needs. Let us embrace this journey together and make our agricultural sector vibrant, innovative, and sustainable. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jules. We want to move right along, and I want to invite the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, a champion minister in agriculture, and I want to acknowledge him as he was one of the funders for NAIA, developing NAIA, National Agriculture Movements in Dominica. So again, welcome, Honorable.
Thank you, PS. Let me acknowledge Your Excellency, Sylvan Burton and Mr. Burton, Honorable Rosa Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mrs. Skerrit, Honorable Joseph Isaac, Speaker of the House of Assembly, my colleague ministers, Honorable Defoe and Honorable Lakia Joseph, and other members of Cabinet, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, Dr. Didacus Jules, Dr. Renata Clark, Mr. Greg Rollins, Your Worship Sandra Hermine Royer, Mayor of Roseau, the Financial Secretary, P.S. Anselm, other permanent secretaries, Dorian Etienne of CADI, Dr. Nadia Paquet Anselm, Mr. Yohan James, Father Nigel Karam, members of the media, and most importantly, the young farmers who are here, who've traveled from the OECS member states to be with us this morning, and of course, the participants from Dominica. Good morning, all. It is with immense pleasure and pride that I stand before you today at the opening ceremony of the first OECS Youth in Agriculture Symposium under the theme, Growing the Future and Harvesting Dreams. This gathering brings together passionate minds, experienced professionals, and visionary leaders, all united by a common goal to shape the future of agriculture in the OECS. This symposium will mark the start of a resurgence of youth activism in agriculture in the OECS as we seek to achieve a more food-secure region. Agriculture is the backbone of our society, providing the essential resources that sustain life. As we navigate the challenges of the 21st century, including climate change, food security, and sustainable development, the role of youth in agriculture has never been more critical. Your innovative ideas, energy, and commitment are the driving forces that will lead us to a more resilient and prosperous agricultural sector. Today, while we focus on our theme, I would like to point out three pivotal areas that are crucial to the future of agriculture. They are climate justice, the adoption of new agricultural technologies, and value addition. These are not just buzzwords. They represent the pillars upon which we can build a sustainable and equitable agricultural future. Climate change is one of the most pressing challenges of our time, and its impact is felt by the most vulnerable populations, including smallholder farmers and rural communities. As small island developing states, we are facing the brunt of this changing climate, which is evident by the value of damage and loss caused by Hurricane Maria in 2017 and Hurricane Beryl in June of this year. Collectively, the loss to the agricultural sector in the OECS by these two storms, valued at $923 million. So as young leaders in agriculture, you must champion climate justice, ensuring that your voices are heard, and you must also advocate for policies and practices that mitigate climate change while also enhancing the resilience of the agricultural systems. As young farmers, you must also recognize that the adoption of new agricultural technologies is key to enhancing productivity, efficiency, and sustainability in farming. From precision agriculture and biotechnology to digital farming and automation, these innovations have the potential to revolutionize how we grow, manage, and distribute food. As agricultural entrepreneurs, you are at the forefront of this technological revolution. Embrace this advancement, learn about the applications, and think creatively about how they can be tailored to local contexts. Technology should not be seen as a replacement for traditional knowledge, but as a complement that can enhance and improve agricultural practices. By integrating technology with traditional wisdom, we can create a more robust and resilient agricultural system. Building resilience in the sector also means enhancing the economic value and consumer appeal of agricultural products. This can be done through value addition by transforming raw agricultural produce into finished goods or intermediate products that have a higher market value. You have the creativity and entrepreneurial spirit needed to identify opportunities for value addition in your communities. Explore niche markets, develop innovative products, and build strong value chains that benefit both producers and consumers. The government of Dominica supports unwaveringly the participation of youth in agriculture and has facilitated the relaunch of the National Association of Youth in Agriculture in March of 2023. At the Ministry of Agriculture, we ensure that our support programs are accessible to young farmers, including a $5 million agro-processing development program, which we launched in April of this year. The government has also provided resources to the Agricultural Industrial Development Bank, which is available for investment and expansion in the sector. And earlier this year, we launched a school agricultural competition where we saw the participation of over 35 schools, and they were supplied with over 19,000 seedlings. In closing, I urge you to take these lessons and insight from this symposium to heart. Advocate for climate justice, embrace new technologies, and seek out value addition opportunities. The future of agriculture depends on your passion, innovation, and commitment. I look forward to the presentations of the youth proposition on Friday evening, which will be used to develop a roadmap for the development of youth agriculture in the OECS. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to the Honorable Prime Minister for his support of the symposium, and the Director General of the OECS Commission and his staff for identifying Dominica as the host country and securing sponsorship from the European Union. I'd also like to extend my gratitude to our other partners and sponsors, ICA, FAO, WUSC, PISLM, and the Government of Dominica, whose support has made this event possible. A special thanks to our local coordinating team and the distinguished speakers and panelists who will be sharing their invaluable insights and expertise over the next few days. I wish you all a productive symposium. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Agriculture. If I take any takeaways from the head table, is that collective action is needed. The youth is the future, and we must act now if we want to transform the agriculture sector. At this time, we have two cultural performances. I would now call on the White Tikubuli dancers belly dancers, to perform. Please make them feel welcome, please.
Alolike bame moso, le yampe yake treat. Si bame moso, kwenye maje bela owi. Alolike bame moso, le yampe yake treat. Si bame moso, kwenye maje bela owi. Alolike bame moso, le yampe yake treat. Si bame moso, kwenye maje bela owi. Alolike bame moso, le yampe yake treat. See Come
much the young belly dancers from Granby, the cultural capital city. And I would want the Honorable Minister, Dr. Vincent Essen, to translate some of the words for my OECS colleague that do not speak the Creole language. We'll have to translate some of the part of word. But I believe we have another performance from the Whitey Kubole dancers. So please make them feel welcome. Thank you for this warm performance. At this time, it gives me great pleasure and it's a privilege to invite the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and the Minister of Investment and Governance to present the future address. Please make him feel welcome.
Thank you very much. Morning. Your Excellency, our President, Excellency Sylvania Burton and Mr. Burton, Honorable Minister Skerrit, the Pilot Farozo, Honorable Joseph Isaac, our Speaker, Honorable Roland Roy, our Minister of Agriculture, my Cabinet colleagues, Your Excellencies, Dr. Jules, our Director General, Father Karam, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, friends all, good morning. And of course, in a special way, let me recognize the young people from across the OECS who are here. They're the reason why we're here today, and we celebrate them and we thank them for their presence and for their leadership in these efforts towards food security and sustainability within OECS. I first want to commend the OECS Commission for presenting this very important symposium and this gathering of young people across the OECS. And also to our Minister for Agriculture, Honorable Roland Roy, who has championed this effort of youth in agriculture. And so we want to thank them and to congratulate them and to commend them for their efforts. I want to say to us that agriculture is crucial to our survival as a sub-region. We cannot survive, neither can we build capacity and secure our well-being if we rely on importing food from outside the region. And my concern is that there is a growing tendency to rely on food imports for our sustenance. And sometimes we wonder, well, where are the jobs? But if you buy stuff that are manufactured and produced in other countries, guess what you're doing? You are sustaining jobs in those countries, and you're denying yourselves and your siblings employment opportunities, because agriculture brings in foreign exchange. And when a country benefits from foreign exchange, then the country has access to money. Money to build roads, money to build schools, money to sustain the health systems, and money to invest in small business development. And very crucially too, monies that are in the banks and credit unions that we can go in to borrow to create employment opportunities not only for ourselves but our fellow citizens. So we as farmers must not only see ourselves from a very narrow perspective of planting food. We have a crucial role, a very impactful role in the sustainability and the future of our countries. And this is why I'm so happy to be here, recognizing the fact that young people are crucial to the survival and sustainability of agriculture. And I want to align myself with the sentiments expressed by Dr. Jules, who said that we have to celebrate and identify those young persons who are involved in agriculture. Because when I hear they talk about young people who are not interested in agriculture, I am saying to myself, but I'm living in a different country from these people. Because I grew across Dominica, and I encounter numerous young persons who are involved in agriculture in various forms. So we have to start celebrating and drawing attention, positive attention, to those who are involved. I believe in more positive reinforcement than negative reinforcement, so that those who are not involved can get motivated to be involved. Because the reality, young people, there is money to be made in agriculture, but you have to be committed to it, you have to be dedicated to it. And you must be diversified. The monocrop way of agriculture is something of the past, which did not help us dramatically because our countries rely exclusively on banana exports. And what happened when the preferential share was taken away from us? Increased poverty, increased unemployment, increased dislocation. But if we had started the diversification efforts while we were in bananas, not away from bananas, but diversify around bananas, our economies would have been in a much better circumstance today. And our society would be in a much better circumstance today. And so I'm happy that we have the young people here who are important and willing to invest in agriculture. But we cannot speak about OECS agriculture and food export and imports. Neither can we speak about the 25 in 2025 if today we still have barriers towards importation of food from our sister CARICOM and OECS countries. Why is it that we can send our produce from Dominica to European countries and to North America, and within CARICOM they will not accept certain crops from Dominica or some OECS countries? It doesn't make sense to me. Are you telling me that these people overseas on other parts of the world are lesser human beings than us, or we're more susceptible to certain things that they're not? What is it? And so there must be the political will within CARICOM and the OECS. if we are to really truly achieve our sustainability efforts and food security, if we're serious about it, it is just a matter of us going to our respective cabinets and passing SROs and removing those barriers. It's simple as this. We cannot go and tell the World Bank and tell the IMF to change the structure, and we are unwilling to change our structure within the OECS and Caribbean. And so this is why something I do like participating in these kind of conversations, because we're not serious about it, something I feel. Because I believe in action, not words. And we have just too much talk around these things, around the CARICOM and the OECS, and therefore we need to have action. So we need to identify, when I address the session in Guyana in 2022, let us identify those obstacles, those trade barriers, those phytosanitary limitations that we put in, just to prevent us from importing and exporting stuff to our respective countries. And the reality is, my friends, if any one of us in these OECS countries are going to consume our 3 meals from our supermarket, we'll have a problem. We'll have a financial problem because we can't afford it. And we'll have a health problem as we are confronting the OECS. The high incidence of diabetes and hypertension and strokes are clearly linked to our eating habits, our consumption patterns. And unless we change this, we're going to see an extraordinary increase in running our health systems in these countries. Because every health system in OECS is highly subsidized by the government. And how can we afford this? Well, we can prevent and we can reduce the incidence of CNCDs in our countries. And I keep saying to us in the Caribbean that the greatest threat to our survival is CNCDs. People were scared of COVID-19, and I said to our country in the COVID time, COVID is not our threat, CNCDs is our threat. Because when you have a 40-year-old with 4 children, suffer multiple strokes, unable to work, what's going to happen to these 4 children? And so I believe that there's a regional emergency where food security is concerned, access to food is concerned, and the health emergency. And all of these things are linked. And this is why I'm so happy the young people are here. And I want to encourage our young people to get involved in this. And we must not see agriculture as we did in the past as something that those who did not go to academic pursuits should get involved in. No. Agriculture is for every one of us. And unless we bring in private capital to invest in agriculture, we will not get to the level that we wish to get to. So if you are a young professional, why don't you get involved in agriculture? Bring in money into this. Because whenever you have private capital in agriculture, that's where you will see the real foreign exchange coming in. Because agriculture requires capital to sustain itself. And the reality is there are many farmers who do not have the capital to sustain themselves. And this is why governments in OECS are the major investors in agriculture. Governments in OECS invest 90% of the cost of investment in agriculture. Whether it's some infrastructure, whether it's inputs, whether it's subsidies, whether it's concessions. In Dominica, for example, farming is tax-free. No income tax whatsoever in farming. The majority of implements and agricultural supplies are duty-free, VAT-free, excise tax-free. Completely subsidized. Plus, we put monies at the development bank at 2% and 3% to borrow from. So we are major investors in agriculture. The missing link in all of this is the private sector. And the private sector also must become greater consumers of goods and services, of agricultural produce. But for the private sector to sell more, we have to demand and we have to buy more. we have a power as consumers. People like to talk about what government is doing in agriculture, whether it's in St. Vincent or Grenada or St. Lucia or Dominica. But what are we doing to help farmers? Are we conscious that when we go to the supermarket, that we ask for locally produced agricultural items and processed goods here in Dominica or the OECS? Do we ask for those things? Because if we demand it, it's a demand and supply issue. They will buy it from us. And so, my friends, while there are many opportunities in agriculture, I am concerned about the consumption practices and habits of our citizens in the OECS. The more we develop, or the more we become developed, is the less we rely on the soil to survive. Less we rely on ourselves to survive. Because it is easy to go in the drive-thru, right? And you press a button, and you order your food, and you drive 2 seconds, they put it in a bag for you, hand it over to you, and you park on the roadside, and you eat it. And we go to the schools, and the children have box drink. They say 100% juice, but 100% water, 100% sugar. There's no vitamin C in this. And instead of helping the local farmer who is producing chicken, we buy these things called drumettes or buffalo wings, whatever they call it. And it's not buffalo wing anyway. And instead of having bananas and the local sea grapes, we have grapes imported from countries we don't even know. And then we do not properly wash these things, and we create health problems. Why should we not have affirmative action when it comes to our school feeding programs? What we provide our patients at the hospitals and the prisoners at our prisons. Why should we not insist that we supply our children with healthier foods? And so I am very happy to be here. I think it's an important event. I think we need to develop certain pragmatic policies from the OECS standpoint that we can maybe harmonize them and share those, and so that we really enhance food security in our region and the health of our sub-region. The health of our sub-region. It is a huge cost to us and so forth. And I know a lot of young people are involved, for example, in marijuana production and cultivation. And they go into the mountains of these countries, miles with no farm roads. They take all the solar lights along the road, and they carry them up. Let us put that same zeal and that same effort into growing vegetables too. People want to know how Skerrit know that and so on. But let us seriously push young people. Let us support them. I see them, they're gonna need special and differential support. You know, access to cheaper financing, less hassle in terms of the access to the financing. They're gonna need more farm support, more access to technology. We need to really push this and have a special framework for them, so that we can motivate all these young people who are here, you know, seeking to ensure that they take on the baton and ensure that we have food to eat in the Caribbean. And as individuals, as families, we have to become, as far as possible, self-sufficient. The Lord gave us land for a particular reason, fertile soil, and the whole concept of backyard gardening in our countries, we have to take advantage of these things. And so I didn't come here to speak about the health aspect of it, But we cannot not speak about the health aspect of our society, because that's a huge threat to us. And so I wanted to be here this morning, an invitation of the Minister for Agriculture in the OECS to be here with you, to let you know that you have in me an advocate for agriculture in a practical and pragmatic sense. I can tell you, you can make money in agriculture. You can make money in agriculture, but only if you grow food and you're diversified. You cannot rely only on dashing. Dashing takes 8-9 months. You have to have somewhere to sell every single day, every single week. And so let us push the young people. The theme is growing the future and harvesting dreams. We have to grow now and into the future. And so let us start growing now and into the future. And let us highlight the young people who are involved in this, in agriculture. And so, Minister of Agriculture, I'm happy to be here. Director General, I look forward to the outcome of this, because we have to hear from them, let them tell us what they would like us to do for them specifically, the challenges they're having, and expose them to the training as required, because the diseases is on the rise because of the impact of climate change. And this is, managing diseases on the farm will cost you about 35% of your budget. It's huge. And in some cases, you run the risk of losing your entire investment because of impact of illnesses. And I think there is a weakness in the part of the OECS where plant pathology is concerned, the study of diseases and the recommendation of how do you overcome this. And I think that it's an important element that we need to pay attention to. How do we address the issue of diseases and pests and so on and affecting our farms? While some of us try the natural ways, because it is an environmental issue and not concentrated to your farm, it's difficult to use the environmental way, the natural ways of it. And what sustainable way can we use to address diseases on the farms, to allow farmers to sustain their investments and to reap the benefits of their investments? So I think it's a crucial point that we need to not lose sight of. The issue of black sigatoka in bananas. How do we really address this? And so forth. And we're seeing an increase in this is specific to certain crops. And I think that there's an emergency required in terms of the studying of this and what do we need to do to address this. And I think farmers need those kind of answers. Farmers need those kinds of advice. That's something that's not forthcoming or is not available. And I think all of our friends are here from FAO and CARDI and IUCA and the OECS, and I think this is where, from my perspective, that we need to really pay attention to and send more young people to be trained in those areas, because those who were trained back then have long retired and gone to the great beyond, and we have not had a succession in that regard. So let us move ahead. But for us to survive in agriculture, we have to consume. And when people talk about the food import bill and they try to link it to government, it's not government. It is us. It is us. If we decide when we go to the supermarkets, we want bananas, I give you the assurance there'll be many shelves with bananas in there. If we decide we want local sea grapes, then people will start planting sea grapes. And I want to say to the OECS and CARICOM that we have the ability to supply with so many crops. We can supply the entire CARICOM with ginger, Dr. Jules. But we have ginger from Asia on our shelves in the CARICOM. And when you taste the ginger, you wonder, what is this? What kind of root crop is this? This is not ginger. There's no flavor in there. Nothing. Because when we plant in the OECS, we plant out of love for the soil. We plant because this is part of our culture, our tradition. When these big countries plant, it is about money. And they inject every single thing with hormones and all kinds of antibiotics And I wonder where we're getting all of these cancers from. And then this chicken stay in this cold storage for months before they get to us. Fish and food were never meant to be frozen. And this thing you have to throw them on the ground for them to come apart. You take a hammer and knock them off for the wing to drop off from each other. No. When we have in the OECS access to fresh meat, less than 24 hours from slaughtering, you have it on your table. So you don't have to take a village politician to tell you that. We all know that. So, as we always say, the power lies in the hands of the people, and the power to empower the farmers lies in your hands. Don't choose it when you want it. Don't single out where your power lies. Your power lies in all sorts of things in life. Your wellness, your well-being, not only to put a government or take a government, no. Your power lies in every sphere of our society, every sphere of your life, every aspect of your life. And farmers need us to exercise that power of consumption. Farmers need us to exercise the power of support. And farmers need us to exercise that power of recognition of the hard work and commitment and dedication. And so there are huge opportunities. I encourage people to go into agriculture. I encourage every one of us to go into agriculture, to plant as much as we can with the little space that we have, because that is where we have the added advantage. We can't build hotels and we have to import food to feed them. Every single thing that we need to feed them, no. And I'm not saying that there are not things that we should not import or would never be required to import, because we're part of a global community. And we can't be looking for markets to sell things when we're not consuming what we produce. So there has to be, I want us to, as young people, to really elevate the conversations that we'll be having today or in the next couple of days, and really be blunt and be transparent with our views, not limited to our own individual circumstance, but look at the broader national, regional perspective as to where do we see agriculture and how do we see us benefiting from the vast amount of monies available to be made in agriculture in our region. And so I wish you all the best over the next couple of days. I look forward on Friday to receiving the submissions from you and to see how we can turn those submissions into policies and to programs that can better support young people in agriculture, so that our future can be sustained. Our future can certainly be bright. And it will be bright, and it can be bright, but we have to be committed, determined to hard work, and really, really recognizing that it's only through hard work we can realize our returns on agriculture. So all the best to you. God bless our efforts. I think Dr. Jules and Minister, we need to push on this hard, partners, and I'm happy to see so many young people here today, and it is very, very important. And do not miss the point of the health emergency in our Caribbean. In Dominica, it appears that I'm on a one-man crusade and fighting the issue of CNCDs. People don't speak about those things. We only speak about these things when we fall sick, but we can prevent these things. And so the President joined me a few weeks ago. Excellency joined me a few years ago. But it has to be a national crusade, a regional crusade. Let us not wait for when it affects us or our families to understand how impactful it can be. Because our concern should never be only when we get affected. Our concern must be when somebody else gets affected, and how can we prevent others from getting affected? Because eventually it'll get to ourselves and to our homes. Thank you very much.
After such an address, I felt compelled to ask, not for a right to reply, but to say to Prime Minister how inspiring this address has been. Yeah, how inspiring it has been. And just to indicate some of what he's been asking for is already being worked on with our partners. AICA, for example, has decided to bring in all of the ministers of agriculture to Costa Rica to see some of the concrete initiatives that they are undertaking. But most importantly, to bring all of the youth representatives who are here to expose them to the new technologies, the way in which young people in Latin America are engaged. We are also drawing on the experience of Dominica itself, because it's no accident that we are here. Dominica has been a very important learning point for us in the OECS. After Hurricane Maria, remember the devastation. Prime Minister Skerrit set up an account in Barbados with the supermarkets to bring in food, but that's canned food. In discussions with him, the suggestion was, what can we do to get fresh food in the markets in Dominica at the soonest time? There was a big debate because some people were saying, well, we have to clear first. Now, Dominica is a place, if you spit on the ground, it's going to grow. It's so fertile. So what we did with the Ministry of Agriculture was to germinate seedlings of fast-growing, high-nutrition crops within 6 to 8, and just distribute these. Within 6 to 8 weeks, the markets were flourishing. Now, that experience, when Prime Minister and Mrs. Skerrit talk about backyard gardening, every household can do that. In Cuba, there's urban farming. There's no empty space in Havana where people are not growing something to eat. So, PM, we take exactly what you're saying. I'm actually going to transcribe your speech, and we're going to mine that to ensure that we cover all bases. Last point I want to make is that this is not just about us as technical people doing things. The reason we are here today in Dominica is to listen to the voices that matter. If we say youth are the future, they need to tell us, as Prime Minister asked, what it is, what are the challenges you have, what are the aspirations that you want to realize, so that we can deliver and ensure that we all prosper together. Thanks.
Thank you. At this time, the Prime Minister has to depart, so we thank the Prime Minister for his future address. So I want to take this opportunity to also thank Her Excellency Sylvanie Burton, President of Dominica, Mr. Burton, for joining us. Thank you, Madam President. I also want to thank the Speaker, Joseph Isaac, members of Cabinet. I also want to thank the head table, Mrs. Skerrit, for your warm welcome. We are in your city, so we appreciate the welcome that you gave us. Special thanks to Dr. Jules for giving us the OECS context and why we're here. And lastly, I want to thank the Honorable Minister of Agriculture for giving his remarks and reminding us that transformation is possible. Quickly also, we will not be possible if it wasn't for the sponsorship of the European Union and the OECS. We're very pleased. And Dr. Jules, please give our thanks and appreciation for the European Union for funding this very important first OECS Symposium. We also want to thank Father Karam for blessing us with the Holy Spirit. We were very grateful. And Israel, that sing our national anthem. We also want to thank our partners, FAO, ICA, and my wife, Dr. Paquette, and Dorian. And the coordinator is not there, but I think I want to specially highlight the efforts of the team that provide the coordination. Miranda Stevenson, Mrs. Miranda Stevenson, Petra Grell-Schilling, they are not there. They're still coordinating. But I really want us to give them, and their team, give them a special recognition. I also want to thank PS Barbara Daly and her team, and my all the other permanent secretaries in supporting the efforts. Thank you very much. And Tony, the local rep, and everybody that made it possible. Thank you very much for coming. This brings a close to opening ceremony. I want to thank the Madam President, and please let's allow the President to depart. Thank you very much.